I think while I'm doing those runs, I can give you some insights or give you some of my thoughts on if you are debating on whether or not you would want to play this game, like if Diablo 2 Resurrected is worth your time. And I think I will also like cut this part and I will upload it to YouTube video too, to YouTube channel. Also link in the description in the separate tab section. So when it comes to whether or not you should play this game, you would have to first of all ask yourself a few simple questions. Do you prefer a very like fast, almost super fast playstyle of hack and slash RPGs like you can see in Diablo 3 and in Path of Exile? Because if you prefer only to have it like super fast playstyle, to rely on super fast playstyle, then unfortunately I can say it directly that Diablo 2 is not going to be for you, because even on the highest level of gameplay, the ones you could see, like if you Google it and find a bunch of videos on YouTube, you won't move as fast, you'll be, even with teleport, you won't cover huge range with spells in comparison to the games like Path of Exile and Diablo 3 as well. You maybe won't have as much flashy mechanics too, because it's pretty simple, you can say basic stuff. So if you prefer a very fast-paced gameplay, Diablo 2, like, you're gonna give it a pass. Additionally, if you don't mind to have or to rely on fast-paced gameplay, but you want to have as much quality of life changes as possible, that being rely on mods, rely on any kind of custom stuff that you can tune in for yourself when you're playing this game. Again, sorry to disappoint you, but at the moment this game doesn't have this kind of function. Maybe later down the line, once it gets more modded support, like original Diablo 2 has. Even nowadays, you might change your opinion on that, but at the moment the game has only selective amount of quality of life changes in comparison to the original. People are begging to add more in the nearest future, so maybe they'll listen and they will for sure add more changes. But right now it is not as bare bones. No, I wouldn't say it, but it definitely have some room for improvement. It's already good, but it's just some little things like having 999 stashes from plugin modification would be nice to have, so that you wouldn't have to constantly switch back and forth your stuff that you collected or are collecting throughout your playthroughs. You get the idea. Or in comparison to something like Grim Dawn or Last Epoch, those games also have their own custom mods already that you can activate, and you can play with them easily on the official client. So we just have to wait and see what comes out later for Diablo 4 or Diablo 3. Yes, Diablo 2 Resurrected. And yeah, that's probably the two like biggest tribes. I mean, if you are a new player, let's just say it like this, like with the big asterisks, because some of you, yes, some of you could have played for sure Diablo 2 back in the past, but maybe you have like, in my case, I have a very shitty pirated version. It did not have any kind of rune wards. Yes, it had class items, but I wasn't aware back then of how to create any kind of rune wards, what you would need for any kind of specific base for it, and so on and so forth. So in keeping this in mind, and also the fact that it's a slow-paced, more so a slow-paced kind of game, then yeah, I would recommend you to play it if you haven't had a chance back in the day, or if your experience was a little bit skewed due to some other factors which are not related to the core of the game itself, more so for the fact that some functions were not working or were not present at the game at all. So yeah, that's the third asterisk. So As a TLDR, again, if you like a super fast gameplay like Path of Exile and Diablo 3, you would have to give this game a pass.
Yes.
If you like to have plethora of custom mod support as well as all the other functions at the ready, like at your fingertips, quote unquote, to install them and rely on them when you're playing it, you also have to give this game a pass right now. And if you... Okay, this is ad room. And if you already was able to have all kinds of rune wars, all kinds of other functions being present at the game that you have played back in the day, being recipes, armor and weapons functioning properly, and so on and so forth, even when you were playing on pirated copy, then yes, you, outside of graphics and sound design, there's not a lot of new stuff that they have added here in the game. So from this, moving slowly but surely to when you should actually, when I recommend you to play this game. Well, let's start from the fact that if you have enjoyed more, if you haven't played this game but you enjoy a more slow-paced tempo of it, like you don't mind having to rely on limited amount of mobility options, not having as much of flashy skills as you would like to have, and also being a more like approaching it from the point of view of more so like tactical approach rather than just going head-on into any kind of danger and killing everything, then yes, I would recommend you to play this game. Additionally, if you don't mind having most of the stuff being as basic as it can get, to be honest, I would also recommend you to play this game. What do I mean by as basic as you can get? I mean that not a lot of spells have like second layer, third layer, fourth layer, fifth layer, and so on and so forth, something that you would have in modern hack and slash RPGs, like I already mentioned, Grim Dawn, PoE, Last Epoch, and so on and so forth. It works fine, but for some people it may be a severe, not necessarily severe limitation, but they would want to have more. They would constantly want to have more. So if this thing doesn't really bother you, then yes, I recommend you to play this game. What's the other stuff? If you also, just like in my case, for instance, if you have played this game back in the past but you did not have Lord of Destruction, or maybe you had Lord of Destruction but it was due to the pirated copy being functioning not in the right way, you haven't had the chance to have rune wards, maybe you didn't know the recipes, now you can rely on guides, on other stuff, then yes, like if that's your if that's your desire, and if that's something that you haven't had back in the past, by no means go for it. You won't be disappointed at all. And I guess the final thing that I can say, it's a very subjective stuff, but I still think it's somewhat relevant in regards to whether or not you should or should not play this game. If you enjoy the aesthetics, the sound design, as well as the feeling, the impact that you will get from casting spells or hitting monsters, because even gameplay aside, audio and visual stuff in Blizzard games, I still think that this is one of the best stuff in all games, in all of the games that I have played. So if you enjoy it, then I also can recommend you play this game easily, like you won't be disappointed. So yeah, that's my take on it. Again, this fragment will going to be uploaded on YouTube, so hi YouTube if you're gonna watch me on YouTube. And keep in mind that, of course, this... I guess, with some asterisks, I forgot to discuss the price. Now, if the price is too big for you, if you consider it too expensive, then I am not the one who is going to prove you otherwise. Like, if it's too expensive for you, then simply just don't buy it, to put it that way. Because, in my opinion, in my subjective opinion, I think that this price, the price of Diablo 4, Diablo 2 Resurrected, is not so expensive in comparison to something like Neo 2 that I have played. And yes, I have a very love-hate relationship with that game. I think like Neo 2 is way more expensive for the content that it offers, and it won't be so satisfied for a lot of the people. But regardless, when it comes to the price, I think it's fine. Like for PC users, it's fine. For consoles, especially for Nintendo Switch, may be too expensive, but for PC users, I wouldn't mind buy it. Like for your case, it would be different. So for the price, you would have, I cannot give you a definitive answer. But for everything else, again, as a short TLDR, when it comes to positives, aesthetics and visual, if you like it, you'll definitely love it. Playing through this game, like even gathering items, hitting monsters, enjoying all the various sound effects and so on and so forth. If you don't mind having limited traits when it comes to spells, when it comes to active and passives, and you just want to enjoy the process, then yes, you will be definitely satisfied by it. And finally, when it comes to experiencing the game how it should be experienced, you know, when everything working properly, I'm talking about rune wards, class items, and so on and so forth, in comparison to something that you might had back in the day because of the pirated version or maybe some other stuff, then I definitely can recommend this game easily to you. And as far as the negatives goes, still again, short TLDR, if it's... Oh, and if you like also the, about the positives, if you like more tactical approach rather than just going constantly like a headless chicken while killing everything in sight with the speed of light. Diablo 2 is not about that. And same thing can be said about the negatives. I already mentioned them. Tempo problem, it's not a fast-paced game, it has a very limited options when it comes to layer of the skills, it doesn't have any custom support of the mods and all the other programs that you can install. So with that being said, yes, this is going to this fragment of me discussing all of the stuff is going to be concluded. Those of you who will be watching it on YouTube, again, hi and thank you for watching me on YouTube and on streams too. If you don't mind, just drop a like, share this video, and support the creative process that is going behind all of this stuff.